strength and overhead pressing.
All right, Cash, so we'll kick it off with you first. So you have a client that comes to you and their shoulder strength is really poor and it's been stuck for a very long time. They've tried what seems like everything. How do you get them past that plateau?
Probably fix their technique first. Usually a lot of it's a technical breakdown of like just really shit style of pressing. Could be come down to like things like shoulder mobility, or the fact that they could even be overtraining it. So that could be another thing, which is something I've done in the past. What about yourself?
Yeah, so I think technique's a big one. I mean, just a quick one. Looking at technique. So a big thing with just like a strict press is the bar path.
Yep.
So you see a lot of people, they'll be starting from their chest instead of their shoulders. So they're putting their shoulders in this really, pronated position at the bottom.
Yep.
And they're not lining their elbow up with their wrist. So there's not very efficient force transfer into the bar. So
it's true.
A good one that I find to fix that, we get them on a thumbless grip. And that automatically means they have to stack the elbow and the wrist together. Otherwise the bar's just going to fall out.
Yep.
What about you?
Cool. Other technique points? Yeah, exactly that. As you know, some people, it comes out even like, I'd go back to even just the way they unrack and rack it.
Yeah.
Like they treat an empty bar like it's an empty bar, like always, regardless of lift, but even in shoulder presses. I teach people when they go to pick up bars, actually get under it as if they're going into a front squat, and get nice and tight, and then walk it out and respect the bar of weight.
Yeah.
Because people try to do this when you guys can see it there, but when you lift out, you almost like do a reverse curl with your forearms to bring it up into position, and it's like, well, how are you going to do that with 100 kilos? It's not going to work. So little things breaking down like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's strange how people really focus on getting tight for a squat or a deadlift, and yet they won't get tight for a strict press. They just think they can just stand under the bar and press away, but in reality, it's a full body lift.
Yeah, 100%. Starting from the foot up, what do you think should be tight under a press?
Foot up, so yeah.
Again, talking about strict press, yeah?
Yes. Okay, well, I mean, it can apply to any press. I mean, even a push press or a push jerk, so your feet are screwed into the ground, toes are gripped, you're spreading the floor, getting the glutes working, quads are engaged. And then from there, you've got 360 degrees, circumferential pressure from your diaphragm pushing out through your lower back and your abs, and your core contracting. And then from there, we're looking at your lats tight, and they're creating a shelf. And if you, ideally, you actually want your lats sort of creating a shelf, which your tricep can sit on, which creates a nice shelf for the bar. And then you've got tricep, lat, and then bicep, forearm, and that creates a shelf to press from.
Cool. So that's how much is involved. And again, you mentioned like keeping your core tight, keeping your quads tight, keeping your glutes, like all those tight. Like there's a lot more muscles going into a shoulder press if you're working for it for strength than just your shoulders. Let's break down the shoulder press into different movements. So from the bottom to the top.
Yeah. Okay. So the bottom, so all those tightness cues we focused on, and then you want to push it close to your face, but not so close you're going to hit your face.
Yep.
So that's the sort of bottom, and then the mid-range.
Yeah. You're right there, mate.
Yeah. All right, just dying a little bit. All right, so mid-range.
So mid-range. So that's where you come in between, if you look at that, between pretty much from your chin, just above your head before you get to the last part of the lockout. As much force through your anterior delts as possible.
Yeah. And then, so once you pass your head, I like to think of pushing your head through.
Yep.
Almost like you're pushing your head through a window, and that really seems to help that lockout, and then really almost activating the back at the top in that lockout position. You see a lot of people miss by pushing too far in front.
Yes.
When the lift could have easily been saved just by punching your head through the wheel.
That takes me back to technique too. One of the things I like to do is just, especially with a new client, is take a photo of them on the side of them doing overhead press, and usually when they're pressing, they're doing it as if they're doing incline bench press, like they're leaning right back and they're trying to press it up on a 45-degree angle, which is a really efficient way. So like Max said at the start, just making sure you got a straight bar path. That's there's no more efficient way to lift a bar than straight.
Yeah, I mean, I've got maybe a little bit of a different opinion. I sometimes like a little bit of a lean back
Yep.
when it gets heavy, just to cheat it out and overload with that heavy weight.
Yeah.
Because it's not really a contested lift, so you can. I don't really mind a little bit of cheating if it helps you get that extra rep out.
What I mean by that, I get what you're saying, but what I mean by that is actually not pressing straight, but actually pressing up onto a 45-degree angle while standing straight.
But what do you think for an advanced person having that little bit of a lift at the start?
Yeah, 100%.
Back into
you're going to have a stronger, or you should have a stronger incline bench press than overhead press. So if you can lean back into it, pretty much incline bench up, again, bar going straight up above you, is that's a big advantage.
I guess my theory behind that is I find the actual pure, 100% strict military press where there's zero lean back.
Yeah.
It's very hard to increase. Like you're fighting for each 2.5 kilo increase.
100%.
Whereas if you just cheat a little bit, lean back a little bit, you can just apply progressive overload essentially a little bit
100%.
easier.
And that also helps a lot if you've got any shoulder mobility issues that you want to get around. In other words.
But the one thing I'll say with that. You do have to be, somewhat advanced and have a base of back strength to be able to lean back and not injure the lower back.
Yep. And
it's very important, especially if you squeeze the glutes, that'll take the pressure off the back when you're leaning back.
100%. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Let's go into. Is there any more you want to touch on that?
I think it's. You could talk about technique, but in reality, it's not the most complex of weight.
Yeah, you're just getting a bar above your head.
Yeah.
There's a few things that we like to tighten up, but
did you want to go into push press technique?
Yeah, sure. Go to push press. Yeah.
Yes. So I think we're not going to do jerks today, but push press is a good one just to overload the movement, and I find they're kind of synergistic. When your push press goes up, strict press goes up, and vice versa. But they're not the same, and I see a lot of people, especially in strongman, they're butchering their push presses.
Yeah. So
biggest thing is. With a push press, you want to start with your elbows in front, not quite like a front squat, but a little bit in front. And the whole point is you want to discourage the use of the arms at the bottom of the movement. So if you're in a strict press position, you're going to end up using your arms. There's a very inefficient way to do a push press. Whereas a push press, arms are up, big leg drive, and then your arms will take over partway through the movement.
Yep, that's cool. Yeah. What sort of percentage should your push press be compared to strict press?
Okay. Strict press, probably 70 to 80% of the push press, but very dependent on the person.
Yep.
And depending on how good your front squat is.
Okay, cool.
If you've got a weak front squat, you're not going to get a lot of leg drive.
That's true.
Push press.
Very true.
Yeah.
If you ever see it, most likely if you're watching this, you'll have seen some of Max's videos where leading up to getting his push press stronger, he did a lot of heavy loaded front squat holds. Is that what you call it?
Yeah,
hold, or what do you call it? Partial. I don't know if you like the word partial anymore.
I love it.
He loves the word partial.
Yeah, partial, heavy partial front squat heavy support.
Yep.
Whatever you call it, it's just literally setting up bar in a rack. And you don't want it. You want it on the pins, and then you're just getting under it and lifting up just about an eighth of a front squat and dropping it back on the pins.
Yep. Percentage-wise, how much more percent than your max push press?
I don't like to put a limit on it actually.
Yeah, cool. So just as much as you can possibly.
Without being stupid.
without hanging and taking plates off the bar.
Yeah, well, I've done that before. I actually don't think there's a limit. So when I give it to a client, I sometimes won't even. I'll give them a rough weight. I'll just say, I'll actually tell when I phone them, I don't want you to put a limit on this exercise. There is no limit. You can go as heavy as you like.
Yeah. What sort of movements would you do that for? Is that usually for partials, or is this for
only for partials?
Only for partials,
and only really for that partial, because a lot of the other partials you can't load up as heavy. This one's got a quite big ceiling. So the heaviest I've done is probably around 400, and at that point I could put about 340 on the bar. Had weights, had to tape the plates on, and then had weights hanging off as well, and had two people spotting to make sure the weights didn't fall off. And I actually think that wasn't heavy enough. It was too easy. So I'm planning. Cash has got a yoke at one of the Revos, but I'm going to buy one myself so I don't get Cash's yoke. I want to actually build it up to. It depends what the overhead event is at States, but I want to build it up to about 500, 600 kilos. And I think it'll make a big difference to our pressing. Because it seemed like the heavier I went, the better my push presses felt.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if there's a ceiling. I mean, the only limiting thing was it became quite taxing. So the day after doing it, your lower back would be absolutely fried. But in terms of benefit for your push press, I didn't feel like there was a limit.
Did you feel like that strengthened a lot of your mid back as well and thoracic?
It did, yeah. I definitely felt like I put on a lot of muscle in my mid back from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how important is that in not just overhead pressing but other strongman and strength events?
Yeah, really important. Yeah, I mean, obviously, really good for your front squat, just getting used to 400 kilos. And the crazy thing is, people have, probably one or two guys that have front squatted 400 kilos. So it shows. I was actually being a wuss on that exercise.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason I shouldn't be doing 600 kilos on that exercise.
You said there's been 2 people that front squat.
Actually, but maybe one. I believe. 2. I think. Derek Kendall used to train with Eric Lilliebridge back in the day.
Yep.
And he was stronger than Eric, a little bit stronger than Eric Lilliebridge, and then he retired. He's retired now, I think. I think he got burned out. I'm not sure what happened. So he's front sort of 400, and then I believe the guy from Nauru, Jezza, I think, one of the IPF powerlifters. I think he's front sort of 400 as well.
Wow.
And like just sleeves.
Wow.
So yeah, I think there's only 2. Other than that, I think the heaviest, like Warwick Brandt, he was an Australian strongman guy. Used to coach Rongo for a bit. He front sort of like, I think he had the previous record, which is like 370, 380, or somewhere around there. Yeah.
Wow. Really cool. So, if you're looking at a little bit off topic here, but I mustn't touch on it. If you're looking at how much your front squat is in comparison to your, say you got a clean event, what percentage should that be at?
Oh, like in...
If you had a clean press event in a strongman competition.
We were actually sort of doing a squat clean.
Yeah, if you're doing that, yeah.
I've actually got no idea because I've never done it.
No, that's okay, cool. Yeah, it's not that common to have a barbell clean in there, is it?
Yeah, I mean, okay, but I can work at the ratio. So if your deadlift is 100%,
yep, your
push press should be 50%, back squat should be about 90%, and then front squat should be 85% of your back squat.
Yep, cool.
So let's say, so just going rough here. So if your push press was 50 kilos, you're already front squatting 75, 80 kilos.
Makes sense, yeah. If you're using 100, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's push press. So talking about the partials there, going into those. Another one Max used an example of was the overhead lockouts as well. Stressing that part, because that there, getting the weight up is one thing, but actually holding it there long enough for someone to go down is another part too. Would you want to talk about that?
Yes, I mean, so I don't. Just to clarify with these partial movements, the way I used them was a little bit different. I didn't really think of it as necessarily strengthening a muscle, but it was a potentiation. So what I would do...
Like conditioning
No, exactly. So for example, I do... Let's say you're working up to a top set of 3 on push press.
Yes.
So I might do a lockout, a set of 3 on lockouts, set of 3 on push press, and then I'm ramping up on both.
Yep.
But full rest, so 3 to 5 minutes rest. So the whole workout takes about an hour just to work out to one top set. But every set feels better because you're locking out a weight maybe 40 to 100 kilos more than you can actually press.
Yep.
And then your press flies up, and then that feels awesome. And then you're adding weight to lockout, and then the next press it, and then you get better and better, and then you end up hitting a PR.
That's awesome. How often would you use that for? Is there particular clients that you would use that for? It's like let's say, for example, the most recent client breaking the world record, John. He did a split jerk, right, for his...
Yes.
Yep. Do you still use split, or would you still use partial movements like that, or that type of loading for those sort of clients?
Yes. So for him...
If you don't mind talking about that.
No, I don't talk about it. So we didn't use a crazy amount of partial. It was just because he trains at home, so it's a little bit limited.
Yeah.
And also he had the strength to do it.
Just so you guys can hear that again, John broke world record in trade by backs, and John trained in a home gym.
Yeah.
Go.
So he trains at home after work and after spending time with his kids and family from about 8, sometimes starting at 10:30, sometimes 10:30 to 12.
Yeah.
Never misses a workout. Sometimes he's on night shift, so he's had no sleep and still gets it done.
Nicest guy in the world too.
Anyway, so we didn't do a lot. It was just more logistical than everything, and kind of the time constraint because it takes a long time to load up.
Yes.
And he doesn't have that many plates, and he's training at night, so I don't want his workouts to go for
Yeah, exactly.
too long.
Yeah.
And essentially, the last 4 weeks was a high frequency approach. So we're training that movement 4 days a week, just because I knew he had the strength to do it.
Yep.
He just needed to translate that strength into an axle, the awkwardness of an axle. So we hit it 4 days a week, slowly ramping up. And the last week we did use partials. So I think it was the Tuesday before, he did like a 170, 180 lockout in the rack.
Yep.
So he got under it in a split jerk position and stepped up and held it.
Yep.
And did a few singles, and then on the day
Just
blasted up.
flew up. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And he also had a collarbone injury, didn't he?
He did. So well, I mean, doing the 4 days a week proved to be a little bit too much impact for the collarbone.
Yep.
And we're not sure it may be a bit of a fracture. He had like kind of golf ball sized lump in his collarbone, but then he pulled through and he pushed through and got the record. And we couldn't actually hit a proper axle clean that week because of the pain. We had to do behind the neck work, squats.
Yeah.
And just get the nervous system going. And then on the day it was pretty minimal warm ups because of the collarbone. But
yeah, it paid off.
If you've got an opportunity for a world record, you got to go for it.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yeah, you never know if you ever get the opportunity again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And that record was previously held by someone in the US, wasn't it?
Yes, but he's actually living in Australia now.
Okay.
Patrick Castelli.
Yeah. Is he still competing?
He looks like he's just messing around with Olympic lifting for the last few years.
Messing around.
Well, yeah. So I'm not sure. But,
Okay.
I don't know what's happening because the year he won Worlds, he was very, very dominant.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether
As under 80.
Under 80, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure whether he'll come back to strongman. But
Interesting.
yeah.
Cool. Back on the topic of overhead pressing. So now we've covered strict press, we've covered push press. Let's go into, is there anything more you want to cover on those? Or do you want to go into a dumbbell press or other events and pressing?
Yeah, well, just on the push press, so a few of the techniques I'm looking for is how they're looking on the dip. So when they're actually squatting down, you want it to be a short, sharp squat, maybe about an eighth of a squat. Occasionally you'll find someone that can go a little bit deeper and get a good drive out of the bottom. But you're on about an eighth of a squat and you want to be almost totally vertical.
Yeah, so as in torso vertical?
Torso vertical, yep. So a good one is if someone's not getting that, I get them to slide up and down the wall. So they put their butt and shoulders against the wall and just slide up and down and practice that vertical
really good, yeah.
bar path. And it's basically simple physics. You're applying force vertically straight up into the bar.
Yep.
You'll see so many people in strongman especially, they're leaning back, doing all kinds of weird stuff when they're push pressing.
Or dropping too far forward, which is when the bar falls out of your hands.
I mean, I know you see some weird stuff. Like a lot of strong shoulders, but not a lot of technique.
Yes, 100%. Yes, I made that mistake of not practicing the technique of the clean part of the clean press in my last strongman comp.
Yeah.
I did it once in the past 6 months leading up to the comp, which was about 2 weeks out of the comp. I was like, I'll try to still do a clean. I was like, I got the weight, that's good. Right up in the day, body had no idea what the hell I was doing. So practicing technique is very important. Can't stress that enough.
Yeah. No, I think we went a little bit off topic. So, you fix someone's technique.
Yep.
Where do you go from there in terms of programming to get them past that plateau?
So fix someone's technique.
Yep.
Depending on, again, like that can depend on, as in, one, how bad do they want to increase their overhead press?
Yeah.
Is that their primary lift they want to increase? In saying that, if that is their primary lift, then making sure reinforcing that technique that I've just learned. Let's say, for example, I've been doing it wrong for 2 years. Higher frequency, higher reps. Is a way to practice the movement. Because if you look at repetitions and sets and the frequency of doing that exercise, all you're doing is teaching your body how to lift efficiently in that movement. So that'd be my first port of call, is actually just increasing the frequency of their lift with that good technique. Yourself?
Yeah, I think frequency is a good point, especially because if it's a weak lift, load is king. So load determines the amount of stress on your body from a given movement. So, and for most people, their shoulders are their weakest body part. It's the exercise they use the least weight on, so therefore it can be trained more often.
Yes, and it is a smaller muscle, so it's in comparison to other.
And then obviously, as you get stronger, that frequency will have to decrease over time. But if someone comes to you and I mean, how high frequency do you go? Like 3-4 times a week?
For me, absolute max. Just personally, 4 times a week, just to leave room for other things to train.
And then what about programming wise? Are there any special techniques you like to use?
Special techniques for shoulder press, not particularly. Like mixing up the different. So even depending again on if it's specifically for an event. So using different bars would be an example. Going from a barbell to an axle bar. Going from a behind the neck press, like changing exercises into a front press, things like that. So or something I got for you was a 2-4-6-8, where you're working down, so working up, so ascending rep scheme. I find those work really well for shoulders.
One of my big ones, which really if I didn't have this method, I wouldn't have coached 2 world records. Was the deep water method. So it's this from this.
They use that for shoulders.
Yeah,
that's cool. Awesome.
So
just going back a little bit, we use that for partner Olivia to help get her squats past 50 kilos.
Yes,
They actually work really well. I can go back and do it.
Well, I mean, I think that particular program, I think that was like a massive turning point for Olivia. Her like strength and 100%. Everything in general.
It took both our brains to be able to write her program, because she's a tough one.
It kind of bridged her from like being an endurance athlete into like a
semi-strength athlete. Wouldn't say full strength athlete, but semi-strength.
I mean, she did well in a stronger.
She did.
And like years ago, like when we first did that, I don't know how long ago we did that 10x10. We'll talk about that, but that would have been like unfathomable.
Yes, 100%. It would have been completely off the charts of not like.
So like it's been amazing to see how much she's transformed.
100%.
And it is actually a good protocol if you are like a more endurance orientated person. This is a little bit of an aside, but just like I do some part-time work coaching some high school rowers, and I found I'm coaching with 30 guys at once. I have to give a generic program, but and in theory, everyone should respond to a generic program because they're not that strong. They're all beginners. They should just lift weights and respond, but it's not that simple. And I found some people, they were just stuck at the same maxes. Say they were squatting about 100 kilos, which is okay for a high school kid, but we needed to be hitting 120 to be up there in the rowing. So there were a few guys. I actually only tested on 2 guys who were in the top rowing squad, and they were quite tall and they were good rowers, but their gym was the weak point. And we knew if we brought that up, that was the one key they needed.
Awesome.
Anyway, so I talked to the rowing coach and was like, okay, can I try something different with these guys? And I just gave them 10x10 on everything. So
they could handle a high, more endurance.
Well, actually, it was interesting. So they kind of loved and hated it, but they preferred it to the heavy stuff. They actually felt like they had a decent workout. Like they felt like when they did the 5s and the 6s and the 8s, they didn't actually get anything out of it. They just felt like they were straining when not really stimulating anything.
Makes sense.
And then we got them on the 10x10s, and then
that due to strength, like the actual comparable strength compared to the upper rowers.
Not necessarily. I think it's possibly a more like neurological profile. Like if you're looking at Polkin or Thibodeau's, neurotyping theory, how there's some people respond to different training modalities.
Yes.
Anyway, but so just coming back to deep water.
Yeah.
So anyway, the deep water.
This is pretty much how we talk.
Just tangents. Yeah. So deep water. Do you know about John Anderson?
Followed him on Instagram. And
he's a crazy.
Yeah, he's a funny dude. Big dude, big dude.
So basically, he's this. He's a bit of a character. He's this ex-strongman, and he's been a pro wrestler, and now a pro bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And he's in his 50s. And
juice to the nines.
Anyway, but he's had a very interesting training method. He basically wanted to create the hardest workouts possible. And he originally called it all in every day, and then eventually changed it. He called it deep water. So the idea is you're pushing yourself into these deep waters where you think you actually can't make it through the workout, but then you push through. And then when you go finally...
Very scientific name.
Yeah. And then sometimes when you're in these workouts, there'll be this point where it gets so hard, your body almost steps up to another level, and then you find this other gear to push through.
Yeah.
And he calls those portals. Yeah, so there's a whole different... He's got a whole terminology and mindset. It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But his method that I've pinched and used to break world records, it's about half of what I do. It's one of the keys. The other key is the partials, which is already talked about.
Yep.
Because the deep water doesn't hit those heavy weights. But what the deep water does, it allows you to overload the shoulders with a lot of volume and really force them into growth. Because there's not many protocols because shoulders, they fatigue quite easily. It's hard to grind out reps.
Yes.
But a push press is a full body lift, so you can cheat out and you can push those high reps. So think about this. Let's say you can you pick a weight that's tough for 3 sets of 10 on a push press, and you give this to your client and you say, okay, don't leave the gym until you do 10 sets of 10.
Yeah.
Now that's possible because you can cheat, you can use your body, you can rest 10 minutes. You force it out, you're going to be sore.
You can do one rep at a time if you have to until you get them all done.
Anyway, you force it out and you're going to be sore for days after. Your triceps are going to be cooked.
Yeah.
Maybe even your quads and calves from the strain. And then you go back the next week and you do it in less sets.
Yeah.
So eventually...
So the total amount of reps
in
less sets. Yeah.
I mean, and some guys, if they're lighter guys, I've got them supersetting with pull-ups for the same protocol. But yeah, you get someone, so a tough 10 by 10, and then over a period of weeks or months, you're going into the point where they're doing it in 5 or 6 sets.
Yeah.
They've gotten a lot stronger.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So a breakdown of how that method works.
Okay,
just
so...
as in like the reps and sets.
Yeah, okay, so week 1, we've got a 10 by 10.
Yep.
Week 2, we've got a 10 by 10, but you reduce the rest periods.
Yes.
And then I'll do 2 weeks of the partials. And then we go back to deep water and we go 6 sets of 15, 1 set of 10. And then the last week go 5 sets of 17, 1 set of 15.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
So
or maybe even 5 by 20 if they really...
So weight that you were doing, almost a 10 rep max on, you're now doing 15 to almost 20 reps.
Yeah. I mean, some people, they'll get 5 sets of 20, so they've gone 10 by 10 to 5 by 20, which is a big improvement.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's actually what happened with Olivia and her squats, is that she started off at 50 kilo weight that she could do for 10, and by the fourth week on that, it goes 4 weeks in the deep water, she's doing 20 reps at the same weight. So,
Well, some people, they can do it, so if you're more beginner or if you're more a mixed neurotype, you can actually do it in a row, whereas if you're a bit more fast twitch, you're not going to be hitting those high reps 4 weeks in a row.
So you need like a break,
so you actually need a break of going heavy as hell, and then going back into it, which does make
But if you're a strong athlete that's pressing 100 kilos overhead and you're doing that for 10 by 10, that's taxing.
Yeah, exactly. Like and I mean, if you're more fast twitch dominant, or more, on the phi type, as Paul called it, or the 1A type, as Tilo called it, of the neurotype spectrum, you really need to...
Pretty much just the alpha.
Yeah.
That's all it means, just alpha.
So, you need that. Your body just isn't prepared to hit high reps every single week. You're just going to, you're just going to burn out really hard.
100%.
Yeah.
Cool. Touching on that, so that's about that method that you use and ways of getting people stronger on overhead. Is there anything more you want to touch on methods?
Yeah.
Go.
No, okay. So strict press is an interesting one. So I've found
You train that differently to push press.
quite differently.
Yep.
Well, okay. So the biggest difference between them is the time and attention.
Yep.
Push press, the time and attention is minimal, so the reps are higher.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So that's why I'll give someone a 10x10 on push press, but I will very rarely give that on strict press.
Makes sense.
Like I'm actually doing that on myself at the moment because I'm detrained.
Yeah.
So I can handle 10x10 on strict press because I'm weak.
Yeah.
Because I'm only doing it with 60 kilos because I had a forced layoff.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, you're gonna burn out. Like the fatigue from 10x10 on strict press is just too outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. What's a lot like what's your max strict press?
Max strict press was last time I would have tested it would have been 110 for 2. That was last year.
Okay, so let's say 120, just to guess. So what's 60% of 120?
So 70 odd kilos.
Yeah, okay. Let's just say 75 at 10x10.
Yeah.
That's gonna like wreck you for.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna take like 2 hours, and you're just gonna be sore for like a long time. And
Yeah.
it's probably not gonna be much. It's just like it's too much of a stress on the system.
Yeah. I think like the last time I tried to do 10x10 on strict press, I started off ambitiously. I think it was actually with 75 kilos.
Yeah.
By set 5, I had 40 kilos on the bar. I used that for the rest of the sets.
Alright, there you go.
It totally cooked me. I was like, I'm never doing this again.
But like, I mean, 40 kilos, that's so light, you're just digging a hole.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
that session actually just made you weaker.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah.
I don't recommend doing that for strict
Yeah,
press.
so you got, I mean, if you say you're going to 10x10, you got to finish it.
Exactly. You say you're going to do something, you got to do it. You got to finish it. Especially
Even if it's going to wreck you.
Even if you go backwards, you got to do it.
So yeah, and a bit of a story about shoulder strength. So when I started doing weights, shoulder strength was the thing that was horrendous at the start. Like one of my first memories, I strict pressed like 30 kilos for a few reps, and had to basically like do a standing bench press to finish it. And my back was shot for like a week because I bent back so far.
So just so you know, Max used to be a normal human with 30 kilo overhead press. I don't know if I've ever been there, but
and I was like, wow, I felt pretty embarrassed by that, but it was so bad. And then eventually, it kind of got a little bit better, but it stalled out so hard for so long that I got frustrated and stopped training shoulders entirely. I just did chest. Because I literally was like, I've given up. Like my shoulders just don't progress. Because I'd be like, I'd be regressing every week, or like not hitting the numbers. And now looking back, there were quite a few facts at play, such as eating like a bird.
Max actually used to be a very little kid.
So yeah, probably not eating enough. And another big one, and zero idea about programming whatsoever. Yeah. Zero idea about technique. But I think another big one was just not enough volume. I was so weak. Doing
you needed a lot more volume.
I needed a lot more volume. So doing like a 5x5, which everyone said was like, this is the bomb. You do the 5x5, you're going to be an absolute monster. And it's actually some of the worst advice you can give a beginner, because
100%.
for a beginner, a 5x5 is easy. It's not taxing whatsoever.
Not at all.
Whereas for you or me, we can do a 5x5 and it can always be like dangerous.
Yeah, it's 5x5.
Like in a serious way. Like sometimes we won't even do a 5x5. We do like a 5x5. We're increasing every set.
Yeah, that's exactly how I do a 5x5.
Yeah.
I never because if I set a weight I can do for 5x5 on the first set, it tricks me by going, oh, that's too light. I'm gonna put more on there. By set 3 and 4, I'm like, get that weight off.
Yeah, like now that's like a serious volume.
Yeah, it's a lot of volume. Yeah, 100%.
But back in the day, that's like Nothing.
Yeah, but doing a what was it, like a 10x2 is a more efficient way of getting those reps and sets in.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was in high school, college, and I could probably bench about 115, and hadn't been training shoulders at all. So I said all chest, and like
Max used to have chest.
all chest, like twig arms, no shoulders, and me and the guy I trained with at the time were just like, okay, this is ridiculous. Our shoulders are so weak.
Yeah.
Because we tried like dumbbell pressing like 15 kilos, and we were struggling. Like couldn't make 10 reps. Like we were dying. Like or maybe 5. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And we're both repping 100 on the bench. Like okay, something needs to be done. And then I'd read about this program from Poliquin called Ultra Sets, which is you pick a weight that you can do about 15 reps with, and you start with 15 sets of 3, and you add 3 reps every time and build to 30 sets of 3.
Wow.
And I was like, if this doesn't work, I may as well just quit.
Yeah.
This has to get my shoulders stronger. So how we did it, I think we started with maybe even 12 kilos, and I'd do 3 reps, and then Ricky would do 3 reps, and we'd go back and forth and just keep going. And then we start at 15, and it was meant to be 3 each time, but it'd just be a competition every time.
Yeah.
And we just keep going until the other guy failed. And then, so it didn't take long. And then once we hit that 30, we'd go up a weight and do it again. And we're doing this 3-4 times a week. And then we're doing this for like multiple exercises as well.
That's actually, there's a couple of good points in there. One, remind me to come back on strain of failure on shoulders.
Yeah.
The first one I'll touch on is bench press. So the client recently come back to me, started training with me. He came to me particularly to strengthen his bench press, and he was benching, he'd been stuck on 100 kilos on his bench press for quite a few months.
Yeah.
He couldn't get past that. And I was like, oh, what's your shoulder press? He's like, 40? I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, well, let's fix that.
Yeah.
So ended up bringing up his, brought his push press up first, because I was like, I'm not having you stand there pushing 40, that's just stupid.
Yeah.
We're going to get the push press up first. That's one of the things that I tackled first.
Sorry to interject, but
you're right, John.
Yeah, actually that's an interesting point. Is I don't like people lifting very light weights.
Yeah.
And I like people lifting nice round numbers.
It's psychologically embarrassing.
Psychologically embarrassing for one.
Like you say in the gym as well. This is stupid. What am I doing this for?
And also, it's more enjoyable when you're hitting nice round numbers.
Yeah.
Like so, sometimes people are like, "Oh, what percentages do you use for this?" And I'm like, I pick numbers that look cool.
Pick the plates that look best.
Like literally, that's it.
Yeah.
It sounds really stupid, but I get way better results when I pick nice, clean, round numbers.
Yep.
And people feel motivated when you're hitting these nice numbers every week.
Yeah, 100%.
And smoking them.
Yeah.
And if you can avoid, so say someone like, that like Cash's client, he might have had to theoretically use 30 kilos for sets of reps.
Exactly. Yeah.
But psychologically, that would have been demoralising. He wouldn't have even stuck to it in the first place, because who wants to be seen shoulder pressing 30?
But his push press, like, once you learn the technique, you can get 60 kilos with these. And then that ended up going up to 85, I think he got up to. And then when he went back to strict press, that was already up 60. So that was a good way. And that was psychologically a lot better for him. And the end point being that his bench press also went up. Keeping in mind, he's also trained bench press, but the focus was getting his shoulder press up before he focused on trying to get his bench up.
There you go. Yeah, well, so like, what kind of ratio are you looking at from bench press to strict press?
As in weight-wise?
Oh, like a percentage?
Percentage?
Yeah.
I think it is 65 to 70%.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, or 72%.
Yeah,
it's all
that's
around
about
there.
right. Yeah. I mean, it will vary on person, but you can always eyeball it, really. Obviously 40 to 100 is...
It's like doing 4 plates on bench,
wrong.
you probably should be doing like, at least 2 to 3 plates on press.
Yeah, exactly.
If you look at it, if you like to count plates like I do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's a good way of looking at it. Like, if you can strict press 3 plates, you should better bench a little bit under 5 plates.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
A good point. A good person to put that on, and a well-rounded or a good well-rounded athlete for his size would be Sebastian Orr, strength coach. If you look at his bench press, he's not a massive guy. I think he weighs in at like 105 to 110 kilos, but he bench presses 240 and has a overhead press of 160. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, a bit like the crazy thing is like actually the craziest shoulder strength I've ever heard was this guy in the 50s, Marvin Eder. He strict pressed 160 at under 90 kilos.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he also break some one-arm records? Is that the guy you posted about not too long ago? Someone else. Someone breaking like some crazy one-arm strength as well.
He pressed a 100 kilo man with one arm. But that was just like a side press, but that was just like messing around. And he could do a dip with 200 kilos.
Wow.
And he benched about 230 with his legs straight and a totally flat back.
Wow.
Because because at one point, it was actually frowned upon to arch in the bench press.
Yes.
Like we didn't have
still is by some people that think the earth is flat.
Yes. So he benched 230 with a totally flat back and his legs basically out straight, no tight setup whatsoever.
Yeah.
And there was no actual bench racks, so he had to get two guys to hand him the bar.
Yeah, that's insane. Actually, a question on that. I wonder how accurate the weights would have been back then. Do you think? Do you think there would be?
Actually, I mean, he competed in Olympic weightlifting, and and those, I mean, some of it, like a lot of his stuff was gym lifts.
Yep.
But they're widely verified by multiple sources.
Yep. Okay, cool.
And he was like a legit Olympic lifter. Like he strict pressed 150 as a under 80, I believe, or the weight class. Like maybe I'm not sure exactly what the weight class was back then.
What are you aware of any of his training methods? It'd be good to talk about.
So very interesting training methods actually. So he started off. He was. I mean, he's a freak of nature. He started training when he was maybe 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And
country of origin before you.
USA. And by the time he was 18, he was already benching 180 for a few reps.
Oof.
And and was actually really well known for his lifting ability.
Especially upper body, that's amazing upper body strength.
Yes, upper body. Or he could do one arm chin ups. He did one. He basically actually all his stuff's out there.
Yeah.
He wrote a bunch of articles on it and he's still alive actually. He's in his 90s.
Wow.
When he was 75, he could still do 50 chin ups in a row.
Wow.
It was on another level.
Yeah. Particularly about his training methods for shoulder strength. Is there any?
Yeah. So interesting stuff. So a big one for him, he focused a lot on triceps. So he felt like he felt like bench press, build up his strict press, bench press and behind the neck press. So he hit those a lot, and then dips.
Yeah.
They were his big ones. But he did everything. He did lockouts. And he'd do to bring up his strict press, he'd do a lot of high sets, low reps.
Yep.
So say 8 sets of 3 with 135 kilos.
Jesus Christ.
But he'd start with a weight, maybe you're not making all sets of 3.
Yeah.
And he'd stay with it for months until he made
all the sets. Yeah.
Yeah, and he'd actually find his strict press increased about 15 pounds, so 7.5 kilos every 6 months.
Wow.
From the time he was 14 to 24. Actually retired about 24.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he'd do so that was his strength day, and then he'd do a bodybuilding day, which was mainly dumbbell work.
Yep.
So one of his workouts, he'd gets the 60 kilo dumbbells, the heaviest in his gym, or 120 pounds, actually, so that's 55 kilos actually.
Yep.
And he'd do 5 to 10 curls, 5 to 10 dumbbell shoulder press,
wow.
5 to 10 bench press, and then maybe 5 by 10 lateral raises cheating. Obviously you have to cheat a lot in 50 kilos.
Yeah.
But that was like just dumbbells, for like that kind of stuff, which is different. And then he'd do like crazy stuff, like 1,000 dips in 17 minutes, which was a world record. Or he'd do, if it felt like he hit a plateau, he'd do 140 or 135 on a dip every 20 minutes for 7 hours straight.
Wow.
Just like shock himself.
If you caught me in the gym training for 7 hours straight, I would be pretty. I'd be pretty pissed off.
And like but you know what? I mean, comes back to kind of what I found a bit effective is that contrast. You need to be hitting those high reps, and you need to be hitting the super heavy weight.
Yeah.
And then that's how you get super strong.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
But yeah, it's pretty inspirational to.
Which is, sorry, go on.
Oh, to have a look at some of these guys back when the strict press was an actual event, what numbers they hit.
Yeah.
Back when, and you know, guys today with all the modern advantages that we theoretically have, aren't hitting those numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't see that often. People hitting 100 kilos strict press and it's like
But I mean, it was also the focus. Like it's like back, you know, the bench press. I mean, probably after Marvin Eder was probably one of the guys that actually popularised the bench press because he was in all the magazines and had these massive pecs.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know, Arnold and stuff. But he was probably one of the first guys that people saw and they're like, oh, bench pressing transforms your physique. Because it's the upward exercise you can literally lift the most weight on.
Yeah, and to build muscle, the more load you can put in, the more muscle you can put in.
So like the bench press, and the actual bench press rack was a major step forward that
in physique.
In people's physiques. And you can literally, you can probably look at like, you know, bodybuilding contest winners, and you could probably pick the year when they actually start having pecs.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you look at strong men 100
in back in the early 90s,
100 years ago, they didn't have pecs at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 1800s, they were just all delts.
Yeah.
Zero pecs.
I saw, some people have an opinion that the bench press doesn't build chest very well.
Yeah.
That's only true if you're not very strong at bench press.
Or if you're not doing it correctly.
Yeah, if you're not doing
it. If it's not building your chest, you're probably injuring your shoulders with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, that whole statement is just ridiculous. I've never seen someone
who benches a lot who has a small chest.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone who benches 180 who has a pigeon chest.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not possible.
Yeah. Funny one.
Yeah. It's just like saying, someone that can, you know, squat 300 in a small bag.
It's like saying squats don't build legs.
Yeah. It's just,
look at the people that do it heavy.
But yeah, I mean, that's if you want to look at how to get stronger shoulders, you want to read up on what the guys were doing back when
it was an actual event. Was an event in strongman, or is that an event?
In Olympic weightlifting, it was one of 3 lifts, and then
did they take that out in the 60s or was it?
I think it was the 60s or 70s. Yeah, the 3 lift era came to an end.
It'd be pretty cool to see that lift brought into powerlifting, as because you think you're a deadlift, you got a squat, you got a bench press, and then well, I mean, it's a pity it ended because the whole point of the 3 lifts, they were like, okay, the snatch tests your speed, your technique, your power. Yeah.
Your strict press tests your strength.
Yeah.
And the clean jerk is the combination of both.
Yeah.
So it was like the perfect competition.
Yeah.
And then they just threw it away.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Alright, and then going on, any other methods that come to mind?
For shoulders?
Like what about for shoulder hypertrophy? Do you think that's a little bit...
Shoulder hypertrophy, big one for me is dumbbell work. So getting some dumbbells under there. So if you haven't done this, and a good way to test it is test what your max for 5 reps, let's say, shoulder presses, strict press, and go there and try to test that on a standing dumbbell press strict. You'll notice there's quite a big difference. So if you I find upping the dumbbell press strict translates a bit over to the strict press and barbell as well. So just for muscle hypertrophy and stabilization that comes into it as well. What do you find?
Yes. So so there's a few little shock methods I like to use.
Yep.
To
Is that 100 rep drop set or that you do?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That's what Max loves.
Yeah.
You won't do a drop set on anything else.
So this is a very interesting one actually. So I got this one from a bodybuilder called JP Fuchs, who's actually a Swedish bodybuilder, I believe.
Yep.
No, actually Swiss actually, Swiss bodybuilder, and he had a very interesting. Well, actually, his entire training was quite interesting. He'd like to keep his workouts to less than 45 minutes,
Yep.
with extremely heavy weight, high intensity, low volume. And one of his favourite shoulder workouts, he did a 100 rep drop set on a machine shoulder press, and then he'd do 4 sets of heavy dumbbell presses.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Wow.
Now, it doesn't look like much on paper, but when you try it, it's something else. So what you do is you go over to the machine shoulder press, and I put it on there because it's just so convenient.
Yeah.
And it's one of the only times I use a machine.
Yeah. Other than a leg curl occasionally.
Yeah. So you start off 30 reps. Then drop it, 20 reps, drop it, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10.
Yeah.
So 5, 10 drops, that's 100. At this point, the shoulders are burning quite a bit. And then I go over to a strict press or a push press, and we do about either 6 sets of 4 or 4 sets of 6, somewhere in that range.
Yep.
And then your shoulders are fried. And triceps, they're just absolutely cooked. And then once you recover from the workout, so the next workout will often have to be lighter. Can even take you longer than a week to actually recover.
Wow.
But pretty much every time I've done it, the next workout I get a PR.
Yeah.
So it's a good one to throw. Like even there's even I threw it in. I had like a yoke press in comp, and I just wasn't getting it.
Was that 4 weeks out? I think you threw that in, wasn't it? 4 or 5 weeks out?
I'd have to check, but it was pretty close.
Yeah.
So, and it normally wouldn't be a wise move, but I just knew how I responded to this particular protocol.
Yeah.
I threw it in, was extremely sore, but then I ended up hitting the weight I needed. So, yeah.
While we're on the topic of shoulders and hypertrophy, talk about different heads, so like lateral and rear delts, how important they play in your pressing.
Yeah, so this is actually pretty interesting. So they've done studies where they've measured the relative thickness of the front delt, side delt, and rear delt, and they found that the average guy that does weights, his front delt is about 3 times as thick as an untrained man. The side delt is about twice as thick, but the rear delt is often about the same size.
Yeah.
So that just shows the discrepancy.
Yes.
Because people are overtraining the bench press, they're not hitting their side delts enough, and they're not doing the rear delts at all.
Or not doing them properly, they're doing them with their traps or rhomboids.
That's a good point. Yeah. Well, I think how many people do you see training rear delts though?
Not very often. Other than my clients, not many people train them properly.
Yeah. Or if they're training back, it's lats and traps. There's no scap retractors or rhomboids or rear delts involved at all.
Yeah.
Which is when I'm including a back movement. I'm only training strength clients.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter how big their lats are.
Yeah.
So the only reason I'm putting a back exercise in, I'm not even doing back exercises now to bring up deadlift.
Yeah.
And it can if it's a real weak point.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it for shoulder health.
100%.
I'm just trying to get that scapula retracted and get that 1-to-1 push-to-pull ratio.
Yep.
So I'm not even too worried about the weight. Obviously, you want to increase over time. I'm more worried about let's get a good squeeze.
Yeah.
And I'll often superset that with their strict press. And when you do that, the whole workout goes better. The shoulders feel better.
Yeah.
And they don't get injured as often.
Yeah, 100%. That's a good point about the 1-to-1 ratio too. That's
if you do it correctly.
Yes.
If you're doing a 1-to-1 ratio and you're hunching over like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and you're doing lat pull downs, or you're doing what I call the lat pull down crunch.
Yeah.
this one where you're pulling the bar down.
You're internally rotating. And the good point on that is, what should you do if you've got shit technique like that? You should hire a
Personal trainer.
Yeah, hire a coach.
Yeah, I mean,
hire a coach to tell you, like, even if it's an online coach, to tell you that you're doing it shit. Like,
well, ideally don't hire an online coach. Like, I find I don't. Well, for one,
actually, that's a good point. How do you go with clients on that topic about technique? How do you go with clients who want a bit of technique cueing? Is that usually via video? You find you can,
all via video. Occasionally, I've got quite a few local clients.
Yeah.
Occasionally, if they're doing something that's really wrong and they're not getting it, I'll just drive over and sort it out.
Just kind of sort it out. Yeah. Won't get through an email.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not happening, and I just. Unfortunately, a lot of my clients around the country, so I don't have the luxury of doing it. But if they're local, if I'm getting annoyed and I'm just like, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'll just drive over and be like, we need to sort this out. I'll just rock up and and fix it.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, it's a good point. So I like people to be already strong before they contact me,
100%.
or I find they're going to get injured training by themselves doing my programs, because I've got any patience for beginners, so I'm going to throw people in the deep end doing the deep water and stuff.
If they die, they die.
But so I have to make sure people are ready.
Yeah, 100%.
And I've had there was a guy that who asked me for a program, and I thought he was kind of knew what he was doing, but turned out he had no clue.
Yeah.
And he injured himself.
Yeah.
Because it was a program, it wasn't coaching.
It's probably
in reality, he needed a good trainer like yourself to actually coach him.
Exactly, yeah. And the problem with that is training age and experience. Like, a lot of people just don't have the knowledge. They watch a lot of stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
And they go, I'm going to do that. So, no, you haven't been training for 10 years. You probably shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. And I think this could be going off a bit of a tangent here, but a lot of people just aren't very robust these days.
Yeah.
Like, they just...
they break easy.
They break easy.
Like mentally, physically, all of it.
Yeah. So I did some crazy stuff and got basically no injuries for the first 5-10 years of training. But I was, I probably had a decent, physical base of just being active.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't do that, and their movement patterns are so bad. They're they're basically getting injured getting out of bed. So, so it's I mean, people. So what people? A lot of people who want a program. The people that ask for coaching, they know what the deal is. But the people that come to me and ask for a program, they think.
Oh mate, I got something to say.
Yeah. So I mean, we are ranting here, but it just has to be said.
Yeah.
Okay, so the people that ask me for a program, so that for one, they're wanting a downsell, so they don't want to pay me as much. So that means they don't value my expertise, and they don't value their results. That's the main thing. They don't value results as much as someone who is prepared to pay for coaching.
100%.
And their entire understanding of how the training process works is flawed. They think I have access to these magic formulas and numbers, and I can magically map out this 12-week template that will turn them into an absolute savage.
Yeah.
When in reality, success is an undulating process that you need to be coached through. It's not this straight line that I can magically predict. And the other thing is, they have zero base. So they think I can turn a piece of turd into a bit of gold.
Yeah.
When in reality, there's a lot of... It's possible. I'm a big believer in growth and growth mindset, and that you can become as good as you want if you put the work in, but it's going to take a lot of work.
And I've noticed that myself a lot, is you can give two people the exact same program, and it can be a shit program.
Yeah.
It can not even be a good program.
Yeah.
The only difference is one person fucking works, like really
and
works.
Believes in it.
And like
believes in themselves.
Believes in themselves, and actually just
and their coach,
blood, sweat and tears into everything.
Yeah.
And with reasonable technique. The other person does about 3 out of 5 days and doesn't handle the weights and goes, oh, it was a bit sore, didn't go today. Very different results, very exact same program.
Well, I think that was one thing when you started coaching that I saw was you didn't have the knowledge base of some of the other coaches when we worked at Shredded, but you made people believe that you knew your stuff.
Yeah. And
people believed in you, and you pushed them hard.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you got better results than pretty much any other training there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I focus a lot on trying to get people stronger too, because I was like, why are people still benching 60 kilos?
Yeah.
They've been training for like 5 years.
But like,
Doesn't make any sense to me.
yeah, I mean, the program is actually a fraction
Yeah.
of what matters. Like, and we're saying that we make our money selling doing programming.
Yeah, programming is like it's such a.
But we're saying programming does not matter.
100%.
Like, it's such a small part.
Yeah.
Like one of the favourite quotes.
Like, you know, yeah, go on. I'm guessing you're about to say what I'll say.
I probably not actually.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so one of my favourite quotes. So going back to that guy John Anderson, someone in an interview, I really like this quote. Someone said, "Have you ever kept a training log, like recorded your reps and sets?" And he sells programs as well. And he sells ebooks about his programs.
Yeah.
So it's pretty big for him to say no. He's like, no, I've never kept a log in my life.
Yeah.
It was like, if you're a young kid and you want to make the NFL, because obviously in America they're talking that aspect, or in Australia, if you want to be in the AFL,
Yeah.
do you have a log, a diary, you write down your football practices? No, you live it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're practicing with the ball every day. You're kicking it to anyone. You're hassling your friends to come over and kick the footy. You're talking to your coach about what you can do. You're practicing. You're running laps.
Yeah.
You're doing sit-ups. You're doing push-ups.
It's your life.
It's your life. So that's the thing. I love that quote. Is like, whatever your goal is, the program doesn't matter. You have to live the lifestyle like it's already happened.
Is work.
Yeah.
Like that's the unwind.
You have to live
it.
Yeah.
Work.
Like if you
no easy way around it.
Like if you want to be a strong man, you have to live like a strong man. You can't just be a normal person and think you can just for 40 an hour, 2 hours a day you could follow this magic program and then all sorts out. You have to do all these little things outside the gym that allow you to exert that force to hit those numbers
without getting injured.
Like, exactly.
It's like all-day conditioning.
There's a lot of people.
I was going to say something a bit more simple. Like, no plan works unless you do.
Yeah. And I was going to say, like, there's a lot of people that want these big-time results, but they don't want to live the life to achieve those results. They think it's all down in the gym, and it's funny. Those people aren't even actually getting it done in the gym.
Yeah. 100%. That pretty much ties it up for our podcast.